Hi everybody, just want to let you know that we're giving folks a couple more minutes to sign in. If you're having any questions about the webinar experience, hopefully this slide will help you to connect your audio either with your computer or via phone. And if you have any questions, there's a little questions arrow that you can let us know if you're having any trouble. Welcome everyone. This is the iConsumer Shareholder Webinar. Before we begin, we just want to make sure that everyone knows the tips and tools. Take that back one. There we go. So you'll see a little menu that is from GoToWebinar, and you can minimize that if you want to, or you can also use it to ask a question. We're going to be taking questions at the end, and you can type those in that little box right there. And we also have a couple of poll questions that, no major issues, but if you feel like it, take a yes or no question. And to start off, we have Rob Grosshandler, founder of iConsumer.
Well, thank you, Kim. Just a reminder that we are taping this, so it will be available sometime tomorrow in our webinar archive, which is at support.igive.com. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon, at least here in Chicago, morning for some of you. We're going to work hard to keep the prepared remarks to less than 15 minutes. We do want your questions. Those are great. We have lots of time at the end for answering questions. This is a whole new area, right? iConsumer is about making it possible for folks who may never, ever have been a shareholder, an investor in a traded company, to have that opportunity effectively for free. And so we know that there's lots of areas that there may be questions. We're going to try and identify some of those today and get through it in about 15 minutes. We're going to cover what it means really to be a shareholder. We're going to talk a little bit about the OTC market. For those of you who may be new to iConsumer, we're going to give a quick overview of how just the whole thing works and how we make a little bit of money. I know that a lot of people have the question about how to sell iConsumer stock. We're going to cover that a bit. We're really interested in making sure that everybody understands how to maximize your ownership in iConsumer, as well as maximizing the value of that ownership. We think the experience of being a shareholder, the experience of being an investor in an early stage company is really cool. I think so anyways, and we hope to share that with you. And then, as Kim had said, we have plenty of time for questions and answers at the end. So without further ado, we're going to go on to being talking about what it really means to be a shareholder. A shareholder is an person or an entity that owns stock in this case, iConsumer. You own a piece of the company. We refer to it as RWRDP. That's our ticker symbol because our stock is traded on the OTC market. One of the really cool things about being a shareholder from our perspective is that we think that we're going to make a great, big, very successful company because your interests are aligned with our interests. That is, we want to make the company successful, and we think you're going to want to make the company successful as well. We talk about every customer a shareholder and every shareholder a customer. We're doing this on a scale that's really never been done before, and so we're learning as we go. We think though that having our customers own a piece of the company is going to create great things. One of the things that happens is that you get that experience. You understand perhaps what it means to be an owner of a company, in our case, an early stage company, a startup company, if you will. And secondly, as we do better, if we do better, you have the opportunity to reap the benefits of that success, right? If our stock goes up in price, you can sell it. You can sell it if it goes down in price as well, but we all hope that our stock goes up in price. One of the things that took us a long time to do and makes us especially proud of ourselves is that we're giving our shareholders liquidity, or working on giving you liquidity. Liquidity means the ability to buy and sell our stock, buy and sell RWRDP on the stock market reasonably easily. It's not as easy as we'd like it to be yet, but it's certainly a lot easier than if you were a shareholder in an early stage Google or an early stage Microsoft. There, it's very hard or prohibited from selling your stock. At iConsumer, we've worked hard. We spent a lot of money, time, energy, making it possible for you to sell your stock if you want to do so. Working still and making it easy. The other thing that this does for us is it allows you to see what other people are paying for iConsumer stock at any given time. That's RWRDP, and you just can Google it. You can go to Google OTCQB RWRDP, and you'll see something that looks a bit like this. Right, so we did this a couple of days ago, and this is the stock market list in the OTC market for iConsumer stock. And here you can see, I'm going to go turn on my pointer and have a cool little red thing. And so here you can see that when I did this, the last trade had been at 18 cents per share. You can see also that the current best bid is 10 cents and the current best ask is about 39 cents. And let's talk about that in a little bit more detail. So that 18 cents comes from down here where it says the previous close. So the last time somebody bought, anytime somebody buys, somebody has to sell. Last time RWRDP Reward P bought and sold, it was at 18 cents. Over the last year, it's been as low as 2 cents and as high as $1.05. For the 30 days, the average number of shares that traded was 153. That's very, very, very low. One more very, if you will. Down here, it says the best bid. That means that it's 10 cents. Somebody is willing, or maybe multiple somebodies, is willing to buy 10,000 shares at 10 cents each. Now, on the other side of the ledger, we see that somebody or buddies are willing to sell at 39 cents, 0.3899 to be precise, and they would sell 2,749 shares at that price. What this means is that we have, according to the OTC, a market capitalization for this class of shares of just shy of $20 million. That's because you take the 107,854,214 shares and multiply that by the previous close. We're going to refer to this a lot. You can always see how old or new the data is, and because we're not very liquid yet, we're not traded every day, you may want to go a little bit further. So we're going to go to the next part of this screen, which talks about what various companies, various individuals perhaps, are offering to buy for. That's the bid price, right? And somebody is willing to pay 10 cents for 5,000 shares, another 10 cents for 5,000 shares. Someone's willing to pay 5 cents for 12,550 shares. Someone's willing to pay a nickel for 10,000 shares, and someone's willing to pay 2 cents for 10,000 shares, right? On the other side, this is people willing to sell. Someone is willing to sell 2,749 shares for just shy of 39 cents a share. The next lowest price, the next higher price in this case, is 48 cents, another 48 cents, 51 cents, and 73 cents. So you can see that we have people who want to sell, but they want way more than the market is at. And we have people who want to buy, but they're not willing to spend very much money yet to buy our stock. As we get more liquidity, the difference between these two prices, the difference between the bid and the ask will go down. That's the theory anyways. And in theory, there will be more transactions. One last thing that you can look at if you go and Google OTCQB, RWRDP, is a history of like the last 10 transactions. So when we printed this, the last transaction had been on August 3rd, and somebody had bought or sold, well, bought and sold 100 shares at 18 cents. The prior trade to that was 20 cents, 18 cents, 48 cents, 49 cents, 50 cents, 51 cents, and so on. I don't have to read the whole entire thing to you. The thing to note here is that the volumes are very low. So just a small trade, 100 shares, $18 of stock can make the price change rather radically. So remember that as you see the price goes up and down. So a quick review for those who want the quick review. iConsumer works because our members go and shop at 1,800 different retailers. And what's really cool about that from my perspective, and even from Kim's perspective, Kim does, operations, is that it's the retailer who's handling all of the money. You go shop at Macy's, you go shop at, Home Depot, 1,800 stores, you go shop at Amazon. And those stores take care of all of the money. Then they pay us when you do that via our app, via our iConsumer button, via our site. They pay us a commission. That's our revenue. We make money only when our members go shop at one of these stores. There's a couple other ways we make money as well, but until we get much bigger, they're going to be a small proportion of the way we make money. We then share the money we make with the member in every case except Amazon. Amazon doesn't allow us to share it, so we're greedy and we keep all that money, the Amazon money, for ourselves. What actually happens here is it helps us to increase the percentages throughout the business. So going shopping at Amazon, while you don't get specific tracking, it does help iConsumer out a lot. We make a good chunk of money when you go shop at Amazon. So for all the other stores, right, you guys earn stock in iConsumer as a reward for shopping. There are also other ways to earn shares of RWRDP for referring other shoppers, and we recently had a promotion where if you got and kept the iConsumer button for a period of time, you'd hold on to our shares. So let's talk a little bit about how you sell our stock via the market. It's really a 4-step process. And I want to remind you that we are recording this so you can go back and see what kind of mistakes I make and how I correct them. You can also ask questions in the interface. Please do that. Kim, who was supposed to actually handle that last slide, but was so nice and quiet because I just kept rambling on, is
I'm pretty
right.
sure I'm handling a slide coming up.
Is sitting waiting to answer your questions or make sure that I answer your questions. All right, so enough of the advertisement. Let's talk about how you transfer your stock. The first thing you have to do is you've earned your stock at iConsumer. You went shopping at Macy's, you earned 100 shares of stock because you bought a really pretty blouse. That was about 90 days ago, so enough time has happened for the blouse to be returned. You get to transfer your stock from iConsumer to Issuer Direct, our transfer agent. There's a cost for that. We have to do these SEC mandated verifications, so that's $7.50, and that occurs once a month. Once your stock is over at Issuer Direct, you can do whatever you want with it. What most people would do in order to sell their stock is to establish a stock brokerage account, and those are typically free. Lots of places where you can establish a stock brokerage account, but the other challenging thing is finding the stockbroker who wants iConsumer stock. Because we're new, because we're small, there are only a few stockbrokers, and the one we've been working with that's been doing a great job for us is TD Ameritrade. So great, you now have a stockbroker account and you have your stock over at our transfer agent, Issuer Direct. You decide it's time to maybe move it off of the books of Issuer Direct and onto the books of the stockbroker. So you ask your stockbroker to transfer your stock from the transfer agent, to transfer the stock from Issuer Direct. They're the ones who make that request for you. They're going to ask for some paperwork. Typically, the paperwork is the subscription agreement that's available from our website if you earn the shares. If you're one of the folks who have been investors with cash in iConsumer, there's on the Fund America site, there's a place to get your subscription agreement. You may also need the offering circular. Each brokerage office is a little different. So generally, it's the subscription agreement. That costs $25. That's what Issuer Direct is going to charge you. And it takes 5 to 10 days or so for that process to go through. So now you have your stock at the stockbroker and you're ready to sell. So each stockbroker has a different interface. We're talking about online stockbrokers. There are still stockbrokers who you can go into their office and do this. You can actually go into TD Ameritrade's offices and do this. But almost certainly you're going to do this online. So you place your sell order with the stockbroker, and that you have a couple of choices to do to go through when you decide that you're going to sell your RWRDP. We're not going to go into the details of that, but make sure you understand the price that you're asking to sell it at, how long you're asking to sell it for, whether you'll take a lower or a lesser price. I'm sure you'll take a higher price. And the thing to remember is that there are no guarantees that somebody wants to buy at the price you establish. So you place your sell order, you be careful when you do that, and you understand that you may or may not find somebody who wants to buy at the price that you want to sell. So, Kim, why don't you help us maximize ownership?
That's right. This is my slide. How to increase your ownership. Super easy. Always, always, always shop via iConsumer. Obviously, you get shares when you shop. You can shop with the site, iConsumer.com. We highly recommend you download our browser add-on, the iConsumer button. We have over 1,800 partner stores, and there's no way you can remember all of them because I work with them every day and I can't remember all of them. So the button will help you to know when you've hit an iConsumer store and make sure that it tracks your shopping so that you get those shares when you shop. You can also earn stock when you tell friends. We have a really great refer a friend program. Right now, the referral offer is when you refer a new iConsumer member, they have 90 days to earn $1 worth of Bitcoin. As soon as that happens, you get 100 shares free. And to encourage that friend of yours to do that shopping, they'll also get 100 shares with their very first purchase. So I'm going to say that one more time. You, because you referred somebody, will get 100 shares when that somebody has earned $1 worth of Bitcoin. We give them 90 days to do it. Your friend, who you referred, gets 100 shares with their first purchase. Finally, you can invest directly in iConsumer. www.iconsumer.com/invest. I believe the minimum is only $250, correct me if I'm wrong, as opposed to some of the $5,000 minimum, you have to be an accredited investor things out there. iConsumer wants to make it really easy for Joe Friday, or you.
Or Jill Friday.
We love Jill Friday.
So it's since we're being recorded, it's 250.05. That way you get an even number of shares.
Oh, thank you. I didn't realize.
There you go. See, we learn things. All right, so we're going to go on to the next slide. If I click the screen, we're going to go on to the next slide. And this is really the heart of what iConsumer is all about. That because our customers are our shareholders, and because our shareholders are our customers, we think everybody is on the same page in trying to make sure that iConsumer becomes more valuable. And the theory is, the more valuable we are, the more likely our stock price is to go higher. So that translates into the more you shop, the more likely it is that what you've earned in the future and what you've earned in the past, it's going to become more valuable. Of course, there are no promises, but it's the one thing that we control, right? We don't know what's going to happen to the stock price, but what we do know is that generally in the real world, when companies do better, the price of their stock goes up, and we hope that that's what happens to us. We work on that every day, and that is something that each and every one of us, more importantly, each and every one of our customers who are shareholders, and our shareholders are our customers, can contribute to. So that's why we keep saying, go shopping. Just a little bit of a recap on what that's meant for us as we're out there, sort of even before our stock was traded, however thinly, right? We started at 4.5 cents a share. We went to 9 cents a share, and currently it's at 15 cents a share. And people are investing at 15 cents a share. People invested at 9 cents a share and 4.5 cents a share. So the market, small as it is, still is enjoying the fact that we are creating something new. Together with our customers, we're making it possible for 1 million people to be shareholders in an early stage company, to be shareholders in a startup. So, as I said at the beginning, there are lots and lots of questions, and we've tried to make it as explanatory as possible, but we know that sometimes you want to go into more depth. So Shareholder Academy, shareholderacademy.com, has a learning center on it, where you can go and find what we think are the most frequently asked questions, what we think are good answers to those frequently asked questions. We also have a blog where I post, Kim posts, some other folks in our shop, Sandy will post. It's really our official place where we tell everybody at the same time the things that we think are important. One of the interesting things about being a publicly traded company are that there are certain rules we need to follow to make sure that nobody gets a special advantage. And we use Shareholder Academy and specifically the blog at Shareholder Academy as the place for that. And sort of lastly, support.iConsumer is your friend. HTTPS support.iconsumer.com. It's got other kinds of questions, more nutsy boltsy. How do I use the site? How do I transfer my shares? Where do I go to find out Issuer Direct's website? Those kinds of questions, as well as our support system so you can ask questions, is at support.iconsumer.com. So because we're publicly traded, we have to say things like, oh, whenever we talk about the future, we're not promising anything. That's what this slide says. And lastly, it gives us a chance to say, ask us some questions, because we'd love to give you answers. We thank you for your time. We thank you for being customers. We thank you for being members. We thank you for being shareholders. We thank you for shopping. And most importantly today, we thank you for telling your friends. Thanks to Kim for sharing this half an hour with me. We do have at least a couple of questions that I've seen.
We sure do.
Kim?
Go ahead. Do you want me to read the questions for you?
Yeah, or one looks like you could even answer it.
I can, but the first one I'm going to pass to you. Roger asks, is there a way to pay for the transfer without Bitcoin? I haven't earned enough to do my second transfer of stock. First of all, I just want to say, yay, you've already done a transfer. Woohoo! And then I'll let Rob answer.
And the answer is not at this time. So this is not an infrequent question. At the moment, we don't have a mechanism in place.
All right, our next question, how can we get stores added to the iConsumer list? And yes, I will absolutely answer that question. The best way to do that is to submit a ticket to us at support.iconsumer.com. Tell us the name of the store that you want us to add, and we will add them to our wish list if we can't immediately get them to join. There are some some hoops that have to be jumped through, but once we get them on our wish list, we will definitely do our best to add them as soon as possible and let you know. Final question, maybe not the final question, but the one that is next is, where do I get the iConsumer button? That is super easy. At the bottom of iConsumer, every page, there's a link to the button, or you can type in directly www.iconsumer.com/button, and it'll walk you through installing on your PC or your Mac. I was wrong. There are many more questions. Yay! What happens, Neil asks, after we refer a friend? How many shares do we earn for one referral? Currently, the promotion, the program is, if you refer one friend and that friend earns $1 worth of Bitcoin in their first 90 days of being a member, you will get 100 shares.
Don't forget, that friend, after the first purchase, also gets 100 shares.
Gwen says, I've made a purchase from one of the stores, but it does not show up on my account. All right, this should be automatic. Things do happen sometimes. If it's been a few days and you haven't gotten anything in your stats or an email saying we have recorded your purchase, and we need you to submit what we call a missing transactions form. It's again on iConsumer. If you go to stats and you don't see it, there's a little place that says fill out this form. We're going to use that to research what happened, because sometimes there's an issue with the merchant, sometimes there's an issue with the tech, sometimes it's just a glitch. Sometimes actually there's an exception that maybe you didn't weren't aware of, or if you used a coupon that wasn't on iConsumer, sometimes those can interfere with the tracking. We will use that form to investigate, and if at all possible, we're going to get you credit, because we want you to be happy with your experience, and we want you to keep shopping, and we're going to do anything we can to make sure you get credit for what you've done.
So I'll take the next one. Laura asks, when should I consider selling my iConsumer stock? And the answer to that is whenever you're ready. We're not able to give you advice as to when to sell stock. We can give general advice as to when other people may sell stock, or we can give general advice as to some strategies you might want to consider when thinking through whether or not you want to sell the stock. One of the jobs that we have here is to make it easier and less expensive for you to sell the stock, because if all you have is 100 shares of stock and it's trading for 20 cents a share, and it costs you $32.50 to actually sell that stock, it doesn't make a lot of sense yet. On the other hand, if you have 10,000 shares and it costs you $32.50 to sell those shares, then all of a sudden it's a different calculus for you. We have time for one more question that will keep us to the 30 minutes that we promised you. Kim has opened up a poll, so sort of as you exit here, I wanted to say thank you again for being involved with iConsumer. Thank you for telling your friends. We think we're doing some cool stuff. We're really pleased that you've joined us in that journey. So on behalf of Kim and myself, it is 1:59. We did this in half an hour. Thank you again to all of you.